Hi folks, how you all doing? It's Will here, or Will Martin 7MMA as you may know me on Twitter. Here to break down UFC Fight Night 63 from the Patriot Centre in Virginia as Chad Mendes faces off against Ricardo Lamas in the main event of the evening. I don't know about you guys, but it's been a really big week for me MMA wise. Not with fights being announced or other things, but I got my ticket to UFC 189, Aldo versus McGregor, which I cannot wait for. It's going to be a fantastic week in Las Vegas, and hopefully we're going to see a new champion being crowned in Conor McGregor. I think he's got every chance of doing it against one of the best of all time in Jose Aldo, but that's a fight we will break down months to come. This card not getting a lot of praise, kind of a little bit. People aren't really talking about it, but it's a really good looking card with some great matchups on tap as well. If you come follow me on Twitter, Will Martin 7MMA, we can talk more about these fights. You can you can comment, and we can talk about this down in the drop down box there. And come follow Kingdom MMA on Twitter as well, where I'll be writing some of my top fights for April coming up. So come and check that out, and give me your views on the top 5 fights for April. But we're going to be starting off in this card in the middleweight divisions with Ron Stallings against Justin Jones. Both guys coming off losses in their UFC debuts. Justin Jones lost to Corey Anderson, and Ron Stallings lost to Uriah Hall via nasty cut in Boston. But maybe a few short months ago, I think it was on the McGregor card. He was okay in that fight with Hall. Hall was starting to pick him off a little bit, and he got hit with a really big shot, which obviously opened up the cut in the eyebrow. But it wasn't too bad. The guy's got a lot of experience. He fought in Strikeforce in the past. And I think he's probably the favourite in this fight, or should be the favourite, against Justin Jones, who's only got, I think, had 4 pro fights. Corey Anderson he had nothing for Corey Anderson, and lost a very heavy decision there. We should see more of him in this fight, coming down to middleweight. It was a short notice fight against Anderson, but I like Ron Stallings, not by a lot. There's not much between these guys skill wise. But I'm going to go Stallings via a very close split decision. Moving on to the heavyweight division, we've got Shamil Abdurahimov against Timothy Johnson. Another 2 guys who are new at the UFC. Johnson with an 8-1 record, all wins via stoppage, and Abdurahimov 15-2 record, with most of his wins coming by stoppage, but there is a few decisions in there. I like Abdurahimov. I think he's just a little bit better than Timothy Johnson, but Timothy Johnson has big power, and if he catches you, you will go to sleep. Abdurahimov will try and take you down to the ground, and he'll pound you out down there. Also has submissions in his game. Gets you in the clinch. He's very tough once he gets in the clinch. Unloads to the body, then drops down and takes you down. Very heavy when he's on top of you, and just looks to finish you once he gets you down in the ground. And I think I expect him to do this here. Abdurahimov might be a good pick on counter move if you play that, but he is at 5400, which is a lot for a guy coming into the UFC. But I like him to win this fight, and I think he can do it by stoppage. I'm going to go early 3rd round for Abdurahimov. Next up, we have Gray Maynard against Alexander Yakovlev. Gray Maynard, he's on the decline, very much so. Losses to Ross Pearson, he got knocked out in that fight. His chin's gone. I think from that Frankie Edgar fight in Houston at 136, he's went downhill ever since, and his chin just hasn't recovered. And this is a big fight for Gray Maynard here. If he doesn't win this fight, he's I don't think he'll be sticking around the UFC much longer. Yakovlev, he's lost his first 2 fights in the UFC, so this should make for a very good fight, for the fact that he needs to win this fight. If he doesn't, he could see himself back out in the independent circuits again. Losses to Damian Maia, where Maia, I think, could have finished him. Was very lacklustre in that fight and didn't do much. And Nicholas Musoki beat him as well, who's one of these fighters who'll put you up against the cage and he'll unload on you, put you down the ground and just win a points decision. Before that, he had a decision victory over Paul Semtex Daly. But as bad as Gray Maynard has been in his recent fights, I don't think he's bad enough to lose to Alexander Yakovlev. I think he's Yakovlev is not a good fighter at all. So I'm going to go Gray Maynard here, and I think he will do it by decision. Moving on, we have Liz Carmouche against Lauren Murphy. Carmouche is another one here who could be fighting for a job. She's lost a couple of fights. She lost to Miesha Tate nearly a year ago. Should have probably won that fight. She came into the UFC, beat Ronda Rousey. I think she beat Jessica Andrade, lost to Alexis Davis, lost to Miesha Tate, and now she's on to Lauren Murphy here, who she lost her UFC debut against Sarah McMahon, where it was very close split decision, but McMahon's wrestling came out on top here. She's very aggressive. I think out of her 8 wins, she has 6 TKOs to her name, and she'll be looking for one here, but I don't think she will get against Carmouche. Carmouche is very tough. She's very durable. She's going to be right there till the final bell. We saw against Ronda Rousey that she's got a little bit of submission game. She never pulled it off, but she showed that she's got that little bit there that she needs it. Another very close fight here. I've went back and forward in this one a little bit. I think I'm going to go with Lauren Murphy, not by a lot. I think this will be a split decision once again. I think Murphy is going to get the nod. Moving on to the main card on Fox Sports 1, we have Dustin the Diamond Poirier against Carlos Diego Ferreira. Really good fight. Interesting to see Dustin Poirier up at 155. He's coming off that performance against... Well, you can't really judge his performance against Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor came out and did what Conor McGregor said he was going to do, and that was knock him out in the first round. But to me, I'm a big Dustin Poirier fan, as well as Conor McGregor. But Conor McGregor well and truly wound up Dustin Poirier all week, got inside his head, and by the time he got to the weigh-in, you seen how Dustin Poirier was. He was shouting, "This is my house," to the Irish fans, this and that, and he was mentally broke at that point. And he hit McGregor with a few good shots, a nice right hook, a nice left as well. McGregor wasn't phased, came forward and clipped him in the back of the head, which is one of these sweet spots. If you hit there, you can go down. But Poirier is a little chinny, and if he gets hit with a good shot, he goes down. I think Brandao put him down as well. Very instantaneous, not for very long, but he hit him there. With a guy like Diego Ferreira, who's coming off a loss to Beneil Dariush, I don't think he's got the striking power to really hurt Dustin Poirier, and Dustin Poirier is very underrated when it goes to the ground here. So I like Dustin Poirier to hurt Ferreira on the feet, take him down. I don't think he can submit Ferreira, but I do think he can ground and pound a victory. I don't know whether he will do that. I think this will go to decision, and I fancy Dustin Poirier to get that decision in his lightweight debut in the UFC. Moving on, we have Clay the Carpet and Guida against Robbie Peralta. Another interesting fight in this featherweight division. Coming off a loss, Robbie Peralta against Thiago Tavares, where he got caught in a submission. I think he got armbarred in that fight against Tavares. Sorry, I'm just looking at counter move prices here to give you some looks at some of the fights here. Let me see. I say Guida I think he's deteriorating as well in his career. He is since that fight with Gray Maynard, he's just been absolutely dog shit, if we're being honest. He hasn't been great at all. He's one of these points fighters who's trying to get you down, run away from strikes when you're on the feet. I don't like the way he's fighting at all, and I think Peralta can definitely beat him here. I don't think he can stop the takedown on Robbie Peralta. He had a great win against Rony Jason down there in Brazil. Clay Guida's been fighting out. He's left Jackson's MMA and he's fighting out of Team Alpha Male now. So he's fighting with guys his own kind of size. And from what I'm hearing and what I'm talking to some of the guys from Alpha Male, that he's doing really well. He's been a great addition into the camp. They've learned a lot from the younger fighters. Have learned a lot from Clay Guida, who's a veteran of the UFC of many years. I just think this will be a typical Clay Guida ground and pound, but I think there is a very good chance for Clay Guida to catch a submission. We saw Peralta against Tavares. He got caught in that submission, and Guida has a very tight squeeze if he gets you down there. Not a bad pick for counter move if you're going to play him. 5100 with a chance, probably a win, so maybe 70-80 points with takedowns all the time, advancing positions with a great chance to get the submission victory. So I like Clay Guida here. I'm going to go submission in the third round, early third round. Next up, we have Julianna Pena against Milana Dudieva. Great to see Julianna Pena back. She's definitely a contender in this division. I know Rousey rules that division by a long, long way, but I do think Pena will get a fight against Ronda Rousey and will give her some problems. She's got a lot of aggression, comes forward, something you can't really do with Rousey, of course. But against Dudieva here, who's coming off a win against Elizabeth Phillips, who really shouldn't have got that win. I think it's a great fight for Pena to come back off a very serious injury that she had, and I can see her getting a finish here. Again, counter move 5300. I don't like to really go above 5400. I like Julianna Pena here, and I think she can finish it within inside 2 rounds. So TKO victory for Julianna Pena. Next up, we have Michael Chiesa against Mitch Clarke. Mitch Clarke's coming off a fantastic win over Iaquinta, who's been starching through that division, moved himself into the top 15 of that division. He was getting demolished, have to admit, by Iaquinta before he caught him in a lovely submission, put Iaquinta to sleep. Before that, he beat John... I forgot his name. English guy. John Maguire, that's who I'm trying to think of. Beat him via points, UFC 161. Looked very good in that fight. But Michael Chiesa, the tough winner, he showed glimpses of what he has in that division. He had a great fight with Joe Lozon before that got stopped with a nasty cut. Could have possibly went on and won that fight. I like Michael Chiesa in this fight. I think he can stop Mitch Clarke. I think he will stop Mitch Clarke. And I think he will do it via submission, even though Mitch Clarke is very well adversed in the submission games, and I'm looking at his price, 5200, not a bad price either. Onto the co-main event, we have Jorge Masvidal against Iaquinta. This is a really good fight, and people aren't talking about this fight, but it is a very good fight. Iaquinta is coming off that dominating win against Joe Lozon at UFC 183 back in January. Looked fantastic, shown great movement, great footwork, nice feints. He looks like he's got more power in his hands. He's kind of realised that he's quite a powerful dude and can really hurt you on the feet. But he's against a veteran of the sport here in Jorge Masvidal, who's been around a long time and has fought big fighters, your Melendez, people of the world. He was looking for a bigger fight here than Iaquinta, and I think this is a very even matchup. I don't think there's a hell of a lot between them. I reckon it will be very close, and it's a toss of a coin fight, this one. I like Iaquinta. I think his wrestling will come on. I don't think he'll keep Masvidal down for long, but he will do it enough times where he'll get the decision victory, and I think it's going to be a very close split. I'm just going to go with Iaquinta. It's such a close matchup, it's not even funny, but I like Iaquinta by a decision victory there. And on to the main event, we have Chad Mendes against Ricardo Lamas. Now this is quite an interesting fight because obviously Chad Mendes is coming off that loss to Jose Aldo in probably the fight of the year in 2014, where Ricardo Lamas is coming off a win. So a loser versus a winner matchup, you don't particularly see that often with the UFC. They don't do that often. So Lamas had a beautiful submission victory over the streaking Dennis Bermudez. Hit him with a lovely shot, took him down and got a beautiful choke down in Mexico last year. And as I say, Mendes had that great fight with Jose Aldo, where I think, for my eyes, being a Conor McGregor fan, he showed a lot of places where McGregor is really going to hurt Jose Aldo. Big power. He's a complete fighter now. He's got great striking techniques, a lot of speed, a lot of hand speed, and he's always got that wrestling to fall back on if needs be. Went back and forward in this fight as well. I think it's a lot closer. I don't think anybody's finishing it if anybody's finishing it in the feet, maybe Mendes if he catches him with a big shot, but maybe it's kind of even there. If it goes to the ground by submissions, I think Lamas definitely has that submission advantage, not a hell of a lot. If you're looking at wrestling, Chad Mendes, and I'll always side with the heavily kind of favourable wrestler here. I'm actually going to go for the underdog here. I'm going to go for Ricardo Lamas to beat Chad Mendes. No, I'm not. I'm going to go with Chad Mendes here. Not by a lot, but I think he will win. But if you're looking at counter move prices, stay clear of Chad Mendes. Go with Ricardo Lamas, 4,400. He will get you points because I don't see this getting finished any early at all. And hopefully we will see Chad Mendes against Conor McGregor after McGregor beats Aldo, which he may do. I think he has a great chance of doing so later on this year, and we'll finally see Conor McGregor against a wrestler, which everybody seems to bitch about on the regular on Twitter, so, and down here on YouTube as well. So come follow me on Twitter, WillMartin7MMA. Always willing to talk MMA on there. Want to play counter move with me and the guys? Come and let me know, and I'll add you to the game. $5 in, winner takes all. And I'll be back for, what is the next card? UFC Fight Night 64 in Poland, which is nice. Gabriel Gonzaga against Marco Krokop, a main event 2015. Holy shit. Who would have thought that? A few good fights in that card as well. You'll probably find the next contender to the women's strawweight division with Joanne Calderwood and Claudia Gadelha fighting on that. And then you've got Manoa against Blachowicz, which is going to be a great fight. I think somebody's going to sleep in that fight. So I'll be back for that probably next week. Keep your eye on that. Like, comment, subscribe, and just let me know your picks, guys. I like speaking to you guys on YouTube. So all the best, and I will see you next week.